How can you take advantage of line movement in the sports betting world to make some money? That is the main topic of this video. I'm Professor MJ, a 15-year university statistics teacher. I've been crushing online bookies since 1999, as told by several media outlets in recent years. Betting lines on a particular game constantly move. Just like stock prices in the financial market, they evolve based on a variety of factors. Understanding why lines move and knowing how to take advantage of those changes can give you a major edge in the sports betting business. Very few gamblers use this weapon. Would you like to gain smart insight on this underrated topic? In this video, we will cover 3 topics. Number 1, what line movement is. Number 2, why sportsbooks adjust lines. Number 3, how to use line movements to your advantage. Let's dive in. Section number 1 discusses what line movement is. It refers to the change in money lines, point spreads, or totals after they are initially posted by a bookmaker. Here are a couple of quick and useful definitions. What we call opening lines means the very first betting lines that are posted on a given game. Meanwhile, the closing lines are the final betting lines right before the game starts. Let's do an example. Initially, the point spread on Team A is set at -3.5 points, which means they are viewed as 3.5-point favorites over Team B. Later on, the line moves to -4. A few hours later, it grows to -4.5. 1 hour before the game gets underway, the line shrinks back to -4, and it remains at this value until the match starts. In this example, the opening line was Team A -3.5 points, whereas the closing line was -4. Got it? This shifting of the point spread indicates that something is influencing the market. Understanding why this happens can help you making smarter wagers. Section number 2 will now explain why sportsbooks adjust their lines. That will help you understanding better my betting tactics revealed in the upcoming section of this video. Odds makers don't just set an initial line and leave it there. They continuously adjust it based on betting action and new information. Let's take a look at a few key reasons why bookies move their betting lines. Reason number 1, to balance the action. In an ideal world, from the bookie's perspective, the money wagered on both sides would be roughly equal. In this best-case scenario, the bookmaker has a guaranteed profit no matter what happens in the game. In plain words, balanced action minimizes the sportsbook's risk. Again, let's do a concrete example. Team A plays Team B in an NHL game, so no ties are possible. Team A is the favorite, while Team B is the underdog. A total of $17,000 was wagered on Team A's money line for a potential net profit of $11,000. Meanwhile, a total of $12,000 was wagered on Team B's money line for a potential net gain of $15,000. Let's investigate the outcome of the only 2 possible scenarios in this NHL matchup. If Team A wins, the bookie pockets $12,000 from the bets taken on Team B, but loses a net $11,000 on Team A's wagers. Overall, the sportsbook earns $1,000. If Team B wins, the bookie pockets $17,000 from the bets taken on Team A, but loses a net $15,000 on Team B's wagers. Overall, the sportsbook earns $2,000. In summary, the bookmaker will make a profit of $1,000 if Team A wins versus a gain of $2,000 in the eventuality of Team B pulling off the upset. No matter which team prevails, the bookie wins. That's a situation that the sportsbook loves to be in. On the other hand, if a much larger amount of money has been wagered on one side, the bookie is likely to adjust the line to encourage action on the other side. Let's go for another example to make things clearer. The opening money lines are Team A at minus 125 odds, or 1.80 in decimal format, versus Team B at plus 105 odds, or 2.05 in decimal format. Within a few hours, the gamblers are hammering the line on the favorite, Team A. More precisely, we have the following total amount wagered on each side. Team A, $20,000 wagered for a potential net gain of $16,000. Team B, $3,000 wagered for a potential net gain of $3,150. As it stands, if Team A wins the game, the sportsbook will incur a significant loss. Indeed, they will lose $16,000 paid to Team A bettors minus the $3,000 earned on Team B's bets. Overall, they lost $13,000 on that game. In order to minimize their risk, the bookie moves the money lines to Team A minus 135 versus Team B plus 115. They are hoping to entice people to place bets on Team B. In short, one of the reasons why sportsbooks move their betting lines is to limit their exposure to a big payout if one side wins. Here is a second reason why bookmakers move their lines. Breaking news. Whenever a key player is officially ruled out, sportsbooks must react quickly to reflect the new reality. A player not suiting up for a game could occur because of an injury, a suspension, or a coaching decision to rest him. For instance, an NBA team favored to win by a margin of 8 points announces that its best player will not be on the court after getting hurt when slipping in his bath. The point spread may drop from -8 to -3.5 following the news. Weather conditions, rain, wind, snow, can also affect betting lines. A common example is an NFL game where we expect blustery conditions. Under such circumstances, the total tends to be reduced because we expect fewer points to be scored. Reason number 3 explaining a line move: sharp money. Sportsbooks tend to have a list of professional bettors who have a history of winning. Whenever a bookie observes a few sharp bettors all taking the same side, it will adjust the line accordingly. Example: the opening line on totals of a particular college football game opens at 52.5. Within the first hour of posting the line, 5 sharp bettors all place a wager on the under. The bookie reacts by dropping the total to 51.0. The fourth reason why we observe line movement: reacting to a major sportsbook. If one big sportsbook moves a line due to any of the reasons stated earlier, other smaller books often follow suit to avoid being exploited. As a general rule, they will assume the major bookie is onto something. Yes! It's time to unveil some secrets about how to use line movement to your advantage to make money. We have presented a few reasons why betting lines are dynamic. Now the next logical question is, how can you use line movement to gain an edge over sportsbooks? Let me unveil 5 underrated tactics to exploit line movement. Tactic number 1, betting early. I have read several statistical reports from people who have analyzed opening lines versus closing lines, especially in the NFL. The findings were very interesting, while not necessarily surprising. Here is the key conclusion. NFL closing lines were more highly correlated with the actual outcomes than opening lines. What does that mean to you? It means that betting lines close to kickoff tend to be closer to what's going to happen in the game. It also means they are more accurate and therefore more difficult to beat. In contrast, opening lines are not as accurate or representative of what's going to actually occur in the game. They are softest. They are easier to beat. As a result, in general, you should place your bets early. You have a much better chance of finding some good bargains, which we often call good value wagers. Here's a quick NFL example. The Cardinals are set to visit the Rams in the Thursday night game. On Monday morning, the line opens with the Rams being established as 7-point favorites. You only start your game analysis Thursday morning, and you realize that the Cardinals may be underrated for various reasons. You feel like they should be 4.5-point underdogs. From Monday to Thursday morning, the spread moved from 7 to 6 points. Based on your analysis, taking the Cardinals +6 is a good play. However, had you placed your bet earlier in the week, you could have gotten the Cards +7 points. At first sight, you may feel like the difference is minimal. However, losing a full point in the NFL is huge. In the long run, it will bite you hard. Each half point is vital to your long-term success. The only exception to the bet early rule is if you have a strong conviction that the line will move in your favor later on. For instance, let's say you want to bet against a basketball team whose star player is returning from an injury. You believe the betting public will get overly excited about his return and that they will bet accordingly. The team you wish to bet, facing the star player's squad, is currently a 5-point underdog. As the day progresses, the line grows to 5.5 and then 6. You pull the trigger by getting your targeted team +6 points. By waiting, you earned an extra point. That is valuable. Great job, my friend! Tactic number 2, the reverse line movement, also called RLM. I love this strategy, and it applies to any sport and league. RLM occurs when the majority of bets have gone on one side, but the line moves in the opposite direction. That can be a strong indicator of which side sharp bettors are backing. Believe me, you want to be on that same side. Things will be clearer to you via an example. The Portland Trail Blazers are about to visit the Los Angeles Lakers. The line opens with the Lakers -10.5 points. As we all know, the Lakers are a popular team, so they tend to get more action from square bettors. After a few hours of releasing the betting lines, 85% of the betting tickets are supporting the Lakers. Still, instead of growing the spread from 10.5 to 11 or 11.5, bookies decide to drop it by a full point to 9.5. Right there, you have a strong signal that sharp bettors may be putting their money on Portland. How can you reinforce your suspicion? By looking at the total amount of money wagered on both sides. After looking at the betting action, you realize that even though 85% of bets have gone on LA in terms of number of bets, only 35% of the total amount wagered has gone on the Lakers. That can mean just one thing. Big and large bets have been on the Trailblazers. In the example, I would be tempted to bet Portland +9.5 points. Am I going to do it? As always, it depends on the rest of my game analysis. Do we have other underrated factors pointing in the direction of Portland? Or are they telling us to bet the Lakers? As always, I don't necessarily prescribe using a single reason to explain making a bet. I prefer to have several signals telling me to bet a given team before acting. Let's summarize the RLM strategy. You may consider betting a team whose percentage of bets received is small while its percentage of total amount wagered is much higher. In the prior example, only 15% of the tickets were on the Trailblazers, but 65% of the total money wagered was backing them. That's a big difference. Tactic number 3, the breaking news. We discussed earlier how injuries, suspensions, resting key players, or the weather could cause betting lines to move. The big question you need to try to answer is as follows. Did the betting line move too much or not enough? Or was it just fine? Here's a quick example. Team A in the NFL is a 4-point favorite. Their best wide receiver, whose status was uncertain, was just ruled out of the game. Accordingly, bookies dropped the spread to Team A minus 3 points. Do you feel like the move was a bit exaggerated and that the spread on Team A should be minus 3.5 or maybe remain at minus 4 with higher corresponding odds from minus 110 to plus 100 for instance? Or do you think the player's value is being underrated such that the spread on Team A should be minus 2.5 or minus 2? Or perhaps you feel like the line move is perfectly fine and accurate. You will get better with experience at assessing how much a line should move when specific players get ruled out. When breaking news occurs, I recommend that you try to predict the line move before actually looking at it. That will help you to get better at it. Tactic number 4, taking advantage of slow movers. We have examined many reasons why betting lines move. When the whole market adjusts, is one of your bookies reacting too slowly? If so, pound on it. You certainly have a good value wager on your hands. That's a specific situation where I'm going to pull the trigger no matter what my game analysis is indicating. Why not go with another example to make sure things are crystal clear here? Team A is facing Team B in a basketball game. The current point spreads are Team A minus 8 versus Team B plus 8. Now, Team A's head coach decides to rest his top 2 players. As soon as the news breaks out, the line shifts dramatically. Team A minus 2 versus Team B plus 2. In other words, Team A goes from being expected to win by an 8-point margin to a 2-point favorite only. If you are quick enough to find a sportsbook whose spread is still 8 points, you absolutely need to hammer Team B plus 8 points. This is a great bet. In this example, you need to be thrilled about getting the opportunity to grab Team B as an 8-point underdog. No matter how the game plays out, you made a sound bet. If Team B happens to lose by 12 points, your bet is lost. So be it. You just got unlucky. You still made a good bet. Please don't make the rookie mistake of focusing too much on what happened recently. In the long run, if you keep making such smart bets, your bankroll will grow. Tactic number 5, late line moves. I saved this one for last because my confidence level is not as high. I need to experiment further before being fully convinced that this method actually works. When we observe a fairly significant line move close to game time, that often indicates sharp action. So, if a line moves sharply right before a game begins, consider following the steam. What does that mean concretely? Here's an example. The money line on the Montreal Canadiens has been hovering around plus 150 all along, or 2.5 in decimal format. Less than 30 minutes before the puck drops, the line goes down to plus 130, or 2.3 in decimal. This suggests last-minute sharp money on the Canadiens, possibly due to inside information. In that case, I would be tempted to bet Montreal. One of my main concerns regarding this strategy is as follows. Are we too late to the party? In other words, maybe the plus 150 line was indeed too high and provided good value. But now that it has dropped to plus 130, is it still a good bet? Or is the line just fair and now yields no value whatsoever to us? As stated earlier, I need to collect data before drawing conclusions about this betting strategy, so please be cautious. Another warning: when a late line move occurs, make sure the shift was not caused by some important breaking news. That would be a completely different story. As a savvy sports bettor, you want to have many weapons at your disposal. You want to use various techniques to exploit bookies. Line movement is one of them. Few people pay attention to that, which is good news for you because you can stand out from the crowd. By mastering line movement analysis, you'll be one step closer to betting like a pro. Subscribe to the Best Sports Betting YouTube channel hosted by the holder of a PhD in statistics. My number one goal is to get you to become a bookie crusher too. My channel offers a variety of winning betting strategies and several free picks each week. Hit the subscribe button now and let's crush the bookies together!